Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Nike HypervenomX Proximo Street indoors. Now inside the box, they do include a string bag to go along with the shoes themselves. The string bag is black in color with black strings, features a white Nike swoosh on one side, and your white Nike football branding on the other. Other than that, all you're going to find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly, and we'll take a closer look at the street variation of the Nike HypervenomX Proximo, which despite having a different name and obviously featuring a different color scheme, isn't any different from the standard HypervenomX Proximo. Just like what we see with the Superfly line or the Mercurial X Proximo line, there's a Proximo and Proximo Street, and really aside from the colorway, there's no physical differences with the shoes whatsoever. So if you're interested in learning more about the new HypervenomX Proximo Street in the indoor variation, a turf variation is also available. Please stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. It'll be the very first link down below the description of this video. On that page, you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you will be able to pick these guys up below their normal $150 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk about what the HypervenomX Proximo Street has on offer from a performance standpoint. Now, essentially what this shoe is the Hypervenom Phantom 2 upper on a HypervenomX specific indoor outsole or turf outsole, depending on which variation that you get. So the upper is, like I said, exactly the same as what you're going to get on the Hypervenom Phantom 2, which, considering that shoe retails for $275, as you can get the same exact upper on the HypervenomX Proximo for $150, that's a pretty decent value. Still an expensive pair of indoors, but significantly cheaper than the firm ground Hypervenom Phantom 2 by a long shot. So the upper is made from what Nike calls Nike skin. You can see the branding right there. It's black on gray, so it's a little bit difficult to see, but it is in fact there, and the material is exactly the same. It's got all the little kind of embossed lines across the upper. It's got that same little bit of texturing on the very surface as well, and it's technically still a mesh-based synthetic material, but it's a very dense, very thin mesh in comparison to what we saw on the original Nike skin found on the Hypervenom Phantom 1. So this is thinner, definitely not as padded, and actually very firm as well. Definitely not uncomfortable, but firmer and doesn't have that same kind of soft sensation on your foot that you may be used to with the Hypervenom line. So if you're looking for something that's very thin, this is definitely going to provide that for you. But what's also great about this synthetic material is that it's extremely responsive. Not only is the material itself quite firm, you also have the added flywire cables that run from the base of the sole into the lacing system on both the lateral and medial side of the shoe, that when you pull the laces tight, really keeps your foot locked in place, prevents it from sliding it around, and like I said, just makes for a very one-to-one responsiveness where the second you react is the second that the shoe reacts. There's no rollover, there's no movement in the upper whatsoever, which is a great feature of the new Hypervenom line in general. Now, because this is, of course, a variation of the Hypervenom Phantom 2 with an indoor bottom, it does have the Flyknit elements running through the middle where the tongue would normally be positioned, as well as the mid-cut dynamic fit collar. So it's an elasticated variety of Flyknit. That's what occupies the middle of the shoe. And then, of course, the collar itself does give your shoe that mid-cut look and also the mid-cut feel. It's something where the shoe feels like it kind of flows onto your foot as opposed to something that's being strapped on your foot. Of course, the rest of the upper is not made from Flyknit, so it doesn't necessarily have that seamless sensation that you might get from a Magista Obra or Superfly 4, or in this particular situation, a Mercurial X or Magista X model. But it's still a really satisfying and quite comfortable sensation once you get used to how these things feel. And again, it's the exact same Flyknit collar that you're going to find on the Hypervenom Phantom 2. You have an internal plastic heel counter, just like you would on the Phantom 2 as well. You do have an internal lining material that, again, is the same as the Phantom 2 variation. You're going to find that the insole is, again, exactly the same as what you're going to find on the outdoor model. It's got a mesh lining on top, and it's made from this decent ortholite material that has a nice kind of spongy quality to it. Now, moving on to the outsole, again, there's no difference between the HypervenomX Proximo and Proximo Street variations. You're going to find that lining the top of the outsole, the very surface of the upper. On the toe box and forefoot area, you have that a little bit of extra kind of sandpaper-like texturing just to add that extra layer of protection for the upper itself. So it's going to prevent it from kind of tearing open, and it's just a little extra protection from scrapes and scratches like that on a concrete plane surface that you might come across with this type of a shoe. You have a very large rubber lip going across the front of the shoe as well with the nylon stitching. So again, sole separation is not something I would be too concerned with this particular model. You're going to find that the midsole is not quite as thick as what you're going to find on the Magista X line, but definitely thicker than what you're going to find on the Mercurial X line. So the Hypervenom X line is kind of right there in the middle. It's low profile, but definitely not directly on top of the ground. You have a little bit of underfoot cushioning from this Phylon foam midsole. I know some websites have this listed as Lunarlon foam like the Magista X. Those websites are wrong. This is in fact made from Phylon, so it doesn't have that same kind of super soft, really responsive sensation you get from the Magista X. It's more of a firm type of cushion that still is very, very good. But like I said, it's kind of a middle ground between the Magista X and the Mercurial X line in terms of how much extra padding is under your feet. Not too much, not too little either. It's kind of right there in the middle. And then moving on to the outsole, nothing really different across all of the Football X lines from Nike. It's got that same kind of hexagon type traction pattern. This of course being the indoor variation, which is great for concrete or any kind of indoor court type of environment. Very durable on concrete as well, which is great. So if you want to buy a cool street soccer shoe, this is definitely one that not only is going to perform well, it's also going to be fairly durable because of this particular type of rubber that they've used here. And the traction pattern doesn't wear away very quickly just because of how not intricate it is. It's fairly flat, which is really, really good for durability. And again, I wouldn't say that the Hypervenom X provides better or worse traction than the rest of the Football X line, considering they are so similar to each other. And you also have to consider that this is available in a turf outsole as well. So if you are playing on artificial grass or any kind of turf type of a playing surface, they do offer the outsole with the little nubs on the bottom as well to provide optimal traction for that type of playing surface. So again, the indoor model, you would want to use this on an indoor court or any kind of flat, hard surface such as concrete, or just kind of like I said, a street soccer type of environment. So that's pretty much it in terms of what's offered from a performance standpoint with the Hypervenom X Proximo Street. Again, aside from the colorway of the shoe, there's nothing different between the Hypervenom X Proximo and the Proximo Street variations. In terms of weight, the Hypervenom X Proximo Street is not what I would consider to be a lightweight shoe. I wouldn't say that it's heavy either. It's just nowhere near the same weight as the firm ground Hypervenom Phantom 2 variation, which shouldn't be too surprising. Indoor models generally always weigh a little bit more, and considering how much rubber you're going to find on the outsole of this shoe, again, it shouldn't be too surprising. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you today in real time. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. We're going to throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 9.6 ounces, the equivalent of 272 grams. So at 9.6 ounces, that's about average weight for a pair of indoors. Again, they have a nice solid feel on feet. You're getting the upper of the top end Phantom 2, which is great in terms of quality, and a decent amount of underfoot cushioning, not to mention tons of very solid rubber on the outsole, which is, like I said, not the greatest from a weight standpoint, but very, very good when you're talking about durability. So as long as you don't mind the shoes not necessarily being as light as they could possibly be, then you're not going to have any issues with the weight of the new Hypervenom X Proximo models. In terms of aesthetics, the Hypervenom X Proximo Street, especially in this colorway, looks absolutely fantastic. Despite being a simple black and white colorway, which always looks good in my opinion, what's distinctly missing on this particular colorway of the Hypervenom line in general is that graphic that normally runs through the midfoot and heel area of the shoe. The zigzag graphic with the crackle pattern, that's not here at all. It's completely absent, solid black in color, which gives the shoe a much cleaner look in my opinion. And that's not to say that I dislike the look of the graphic, but I definitely prefer the look of the shoe without the graphic, at least in this black and white color scheme. So you have all black across the upper. It's got a semi-shiny finish to it. You have a white Nike swoosh with a black outline on both the lateral, or the front and back of the shoe, I should say. You got your Hypervenom X branding as well as your Nike Skin branding there in gray. You're going to notice that ACC branding is distinctly absent. This shoe technically does not have ACC all conditions control. Black laces, the flyknit area of the shoe is a combination of black as well as gray, which I think again looks really, really good with the black here at the very top border of the actual collar. And then of course you're gonna find that the midsole is black in color with orange paint speckling, which I think looks really cool. You have some shiny black in the sandpaper texturing, and then the entire outsole, aside from the Nike swoosh, is solid white in color. So again, not a lot of color happening on this particular shoe. The black and white looks great together, and the little hint of orange in the midsole, again, I think looks really, really cool. Overall, probably the best colorway of the Hypervenom line that we've seen so far in this new variation, in my opinion. But leave your opinions down below in the comment section. Do you like how this shoe looks? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and of course what the sizing is like. Alright, so here is a look at the HypervenomX Proximo Streets on feet. On my left foot I have the stock black laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot I have a pair of orange with black dots SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, be sure to check out the website www.sr4ulaces.com. You'll find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, the shape of the shoe is very similar to that of the Hypervenom Phantom 2. It's got the same general feel. The upper is thin but firm, and when you pull the laces tight, you can definitely feel the firmness of the upper, as well as the extra structural integrity you get from those flywire cables on both the lateral and medial side. Your foot is locked in place really nicely, and again, you just have a nice, secure, kind of responsive sensation in that your foot's not moving around whatsoever inside of the shoe, which is absolutely fantastic. It does take some getting used to. Like I said, it is a little bit stiffer than you perhaps might expect, especially in comparison to the original Hypervenom Phantom, but the end result is a shoe that performs and ultimately feels really, really good. As far as the mid-cut design is concerned, it takes some getting used to if you haven't worn it before, but after a couple hours, it stops feeling weird and starts to feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more normal. It's just not something that you really notice all that much once you do actually get used to them. In regards to getting blisters and discomfort in the heel area, it's really important that you break these things in slowly. Don't go directly into a shooting session or something like that. As long as you take things slow, give them a couple hours to kind of get used to how they feel, you shouldn't have any issues with blistering or discomfort whatsoever. In regards to the fit of the shoe, it's a tighter fitting shoe, but certainly not one that I would consider to be overly narrow. You have to keep in mind that the upper is really not going to stretch here whatsoever. The way they fit from right out of the box is the way they're going to fit for their entire lifespan. So if you do have excessively wide feet, probably not the best option for you. And in regards to sizing, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the Nike HypervenomX Proximo Street. Again, if you're looking for an indoor or turf variation of the Hypervenom Phantom 2, this is what you're looking for. If you do want a pair for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you will find high quality images of the shoe to give you a better idea as to how they actually do look in person, as well as buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $150 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.